let's talk about something that's flowing through you right this second. Something we totally take for granted, your blood. But here's the thing, it's not just some red liquid. Think of it as an incredibly smart system, a whole team of specialists whose entire job is to solve the biggest problems of keeping you alive. We're going to dive right in. I mean, really think about that for a second. Your body is this massive, sprawling city with trillions of citizens, yourselves. Every single one needs oxygen, needs food, needs its trash taken out. And on top of that, it's under constant threat from invaders. So how do you possibly manage the logistics and security for a population that huge? It sounds like an impossible nightmare. And yet the solution is just, well, it's beautiful, it's elegant, it's your blood. This one fluid is the answer to all of it. It's your delivery network, your personal security force, and your emergency repair crew all rolled into one. So let's break down exactly how it pulls off each of these incredible jobs. Okay, first up, the logistics. You gotta get the essentials, like oxygen from your lungs all the way down to a muscle cell in your big toe, and you gotta do it fast. This is the job of the most common cell in your blood, the ultimate courier service. Meet the erythrocyte, better known as the red blood cell. And what's so wild about them is that they're not even really cells in the traditional sense. To make more room for cargo, they literally throw out their own nucleus. Their weird, squished-in-the-middle shape gives them a massive surface area for grabbing oxygen, and it makes them super flexible so they can squeeze through the tiniest little blood vessels. They are built for one thing, and one thing only: delivery. And their efficiency? It's just mind-blowing. Each one of these little red blood cells is stuffed with about 250 million hemoglobin molecules. Because of that, a single red blood cell can carry 1 billion molecules of oxygen. 1 billion. Now multiply that by the trillions of red blood cells you have, and you start to see just how massive this delivery operation really is. All right, so supplies are handled, but what about problem number 2? Security. Every single day, you are being attacked by bacteria, viruses, all sorts of nasty stuff. Well, your blood has its own mobile, highly specialized security force fighting this silent, nonstop war for you. These are your leukocytes, or white blood cells. And as you can see, it's not just one type of soldier. It's a whole team of specialists, each with a different job. The neutrophils, or the grunts, the most numerous first responders on the scene. Then you have the rarer specialists like basophils, who are crucial for things like allergic reactions. So let's meet the security team real quick. You've got your neutrophils, which are basically the foot soldiers that just go around eating bacteria. Then you have lymphocytes. These are your intel specialists. T cells go in for direct combat, while B cells are the weapons manufacturers, pumping out highly specific antibodies. Monocytes are the heavy-duty cleanup crew. And then you have the real specialists. Eosinophils to take on parasites, and basophils to handle allergic responses. What a crew! Okay, so your cells are fed and they're protected. But what happens when the system itself gets damaged? You get a cut, a scrape, a breach in the plumbing. That could be a disaster, which brings us to problem number 3, emergency repairs. The solution here comes from these tiny little things called platelets. And again, just like red blood cells, they aren't even real cells. They're literally little bits that break off from these huge cells in your bone marrow called megakaryocytes. Their whole purpose is just to float around, waiting for an alarm bell to go off so they can race to the scene. And when that breach happens, the response is immediate and perfectly choreographed. First, bam, the blood vessel itself squeezes shut to slow down the bleeding. Second, the platelets get the signal, become super sticky, and rush to the site to form a temporary plug. And finally, a whole cascade of events creates this tough, web-like mesh of fibrin that traps everything and forms a solid, strong clot. It's just brilliant, life-saving engineering in action. This brings us to our last problem, and it's maybe the trickiest one. With all these different cells flying around, plus constant threats from the outside, how does your body know what's you and what's an invader? How does it run a constant identity check? Well, that's where blood typing comes in. The whole thing boils down to 2 key players. The best way to think about it is this. On the surface of your red blood cells, you have antigens. These are like molecular ID cards that say, yep, I belong here, I'm part of the club. Then, floating around in your plasma, you have antibodies. These are the security guards, and their only job is to patrol and attack any cell with an ID card they don't recognize. So here's the crucial rule. Your body only makes security guards, antibodies, against the ID cards, the antigens, that you don't have. It makes perfect sense, right? If you have type A blood, your cells have the AID card, so your body has anti-B security guards. If you're type O, you don't have A or B ID cards, so you've got security guards against both. It's a beautifully simple and foolproof system. So let's put this into practice. Imagine we're in the lab. We take a drop of blood and we mix it with two different serums. One has a bunch of anti-A security guards and the other has anti-B. If a security guard finds its target antigen, it's going to cause the blood to clump up. So, what do you think happens here? Okay, here are the results. When we mix it with the anti-A serum, we get clumping. That's the telltale sign. It means the anti-A security guards found their target. The A antigen is definitely there. But when we add the anti-B serum, nothing happens. No reaction at all. That means there's no B antigen for it to grab onto. So the conclusion is simple. The blood type is A. The reaction tells us exactly which ID card these cells are carrying. This super simple test is what makes safe blood transfusions possible. And this logic is what gives us two incredibly important blood types. O-negative blood has no A, B, or Rh antigens on its surface. Its ID card is basically blank, so you can give it to almost anyone in an emergency because there's nothing for the recipient's security guards to attack. It's the universal donor. And the opposite is true for AB positive. They have all the ID cards, which means they have no security guards in their plasma. They can receive any blood type, making them the universal recipient. So when you put it all together, from delivering billions of oxygen molecules every single second, to hunting down microscopic enemies, to patching up leaks on the fly, and managing this whole complex identity system, your blood is so much more than a fluid. It's this living, dynamic, coordinated team that's constantly working to solve the fundamental problems of just being alive. And I'll leave you with this one final thought. When you just stop and consider the mind-boggling complexity, the trillions of interactions, the constant threats, the split-second decisions happening inside you right this very moment, isn't it just absolutely incredible that this silent, life-saving system gets it right almost every single time? It really is one of the true wonders of biology.